Fujifilm boldly state on their website, with each new lens we raise the bar of photo expression. And I think most of us here agree that pretty much they do that, you know, give or take a few little quirks. Now here's the random analogy. It's pretty sad that in many modern day cultures, older folk tend to get left behind, kind of overlooked, left on a shelf in a nursing home, for example. I warned you it was a bit random, but it got me thinking. What about the original trio of Fujifilm X series lenses? You know, the Fuji XF 18mm f2, the 35mm f1.4, and that macro, the 60mm f2.4. Do they really deserve to be left on the shelf, hated by those internet warriors? Or maybe with the advancements in the processor and the sensor with the latest Fujifilm X series bodies, maybe, just maybe, they have a lot more to give still in this modern day and age. Let's have a little look. Possibly the least loved lens in the Fujifilm lineup. This is a lens that doesn't deserve the bad rep, not by a long shot. Yeah, it's not as fast as, let's say, the magical 16mm 1.4, not as amazing as the 23 1.4, or arguably as sharp as the 14mm 2.8. But there's a reason I went back to this little workhorse last year, and it's the size. I mean, to me, this lens embodies that original Fuji mirrorless ethos. It's discreet, it's not quite pancake-like, but when you put it on any of the X series bodies, even if you've got a little grip attached there, you know, it really oozes discretion compared to some of its, in inverted commas, competitors. And so with a documentary style of shooting, a reportage photojournalistic method of working, this lens more than makes up for it not being as fast or quite as sharp as some of the others. It produces lovely images, allows me to get close, allows me to get deeper into the scene than perhaps I would in certain situations using the 14mm or the 16mm. But man, if that 16mm was the size of this thing, it'd be a whole different conversation. This one isn't so hated or controversial, but let's be honest, the autofocus can clunk along at times. But for the size, solid build quality, this thing produces top-notch images. It's not particularly fast, not a particularly smooth operator, but if you're not in a huge rush, or rather you know how to plan your shots, we're talking milliseconds, not minutes, then the rewards are there with this 35 1.4. This is effectively the standard prime with a full frame equivalent of 53mm, and it renders the image so nice and sharp. I'd take this over the smooth and otherwise excellent f2 version all day long. In fact, I have, quite obviously. As you can see, my lens hood does not like to stay on anymore. I really like the lens hood, but I've had to use a bit of black tape now because the thing likes to fall off when I'm in the middle of a shoot. This is a funny one. Yeah, it has that crazy hood, but I find that hood is important to get the contrast just right, at least for how I like to use this thing. It's not particularly a fast lens, not one necessarily for sports, but it's well worth the effort. It's got to be said once again, this is not technically a macro as it states in the name and on the box, but it's a very decent close-up at 26.7 centimeters, 0.5 magnification. Of course, you could get yourself a 50mm f2, but that's a shorter focal length than maybe you want. It doesn't focus as close. Or of course you could get the more expensive top of the line 56 1.2, which is just pure magic. But you know, I think they're for different things. If you have to use this lens, take a few milliseconds more again to get your shot, and you'll find it sweeter than the dust on the shelf would suggest. I think these lenses have a lot more life in them, and that's why I wanted to do this little bit of an exercise. Perhaps the obvious order of strength then, it's got to be that 35 surely, and for me 18, then the 60, but that's a little bit unfair. I'm happy to use any of these lenses on a pro shoot. In fact, I use the 18 and the 35 regularly. None of these lenses are fatally slow on the latest bodies anymore. Yeah, they're not blazing, but in a normal reportage or portrait environment, you won't go far wrong. If you're strapped for cash, these lenses won't leave you short, unless you really need the fastest lenses out there. To me, the Fuji gear that we have now, yeah, it has raised the bar of photo expression, if you want to put it that way. A lot of the alternatives on paper are stronger, and that's a good thing. But with rising prices, especially in places like the UK where I'm at, all is not lost. This original trio still has some real magic to it, and you can pick them up for about £250 a piece on the used market, which is brilliant really. Arguably, the original trio still represents the ethos that brought many of us into the Fujifilm mirrorless world. Like our dear OAPs out there, let's show them the respect, the love that they deserve. Don't be snobs, don't be internet haters. Respect the legacy. That's a random exercise done. I'm happy that in 2018, these lenses are still gonna be great lenses, great workhorses to get it out there. And you know what? We lay down the gauntlet to Fujifilm to bring out better lenses that still hold on to the original ethos. Small yet powerful. Oh, and with that Fuji magic that we like to rave about, like a bunch of geeks that we are. Well, I am.